As I stand here today, I want to recognize our Mayor, Skip Henderson, who is here with us as well. I want to talk about an incident that occurred on last night, a shooting incident that involved children, all under the age of 18. Shortly after 10 last night, our officers responded to the shooting incident where multiple victims were struck. This occurred in the 4400 block of Warm Springs Road. It was outside of a Shell gas station. Upon our officers arriving on the scene, they learned that several individuals had been shot, and the ages of these 9 victims range from 5 to 17. 7 of the victims are male and 2 female. None of these victims received life-threatening injuries. Based on our preliminary investigation, we learned that an altercation took place at a party that was nearby in that particular area, and then it led over to the gas station. As our men and women continue in their efforts to investigate this case, I want to say that we're committed to ensure that we find the person or persons that are responsible for this senseless crime. As I always say, it takes our entire community to combat gun violence in our city, especially when it involves children. It takes our entire village. All of us have a responsibility, because incidents like this, it really impacts all of us. Our officers will continue in this investigation. They have spoken to some of the witnesses that were on the scene, and we've received cooperation from some, and some we have not received cooperation from. I encourage anyone with any information about this incident to contact the lead investigator on this case, and that's Detective Rosado. He can be contacted at 706-225-4328. We will work continuously on this case and utilize all of our resources to bring this case to a successful resolve. I encourage parents of these children who were at this location on last night to ensure that you get information from your child and make sure that information is shared with the police. This incident would not be tolerated. Incidents of this type would not be tolerated. And we will continue to work around the clock until we are able to bring this case to a resolve. So, at this time, do you have any questions?
Chief, do you believe there are multiple shooters in this incident?
As I stated previously, we are still investigating this case, and we are talking to witnesses to try to find out exactly what occurred. And so we're still working to develop information to find out exactly what occurred and how many individuals are involved.
Chief, I have a question. I was out there last night with a shooting incident. There was several cops out there investigating what the fourth tragedy that happened. We got a message as I was out there that stated this is not the first time that there was an event at this location which occurred. The altercation ensued at the other location, not the Shell gas station, sorry. But I heard that there has been multiple incidents before this within the past couple months. Have y'all been called out past altercations nearby with teenagers? I saw some videos that were sent to me involving these altercations. It was a large group of teenagers that were fighting each other in past instances. Have you been called out, or has your police department been called out for previous altercations?
Well, of course, if 911 is called, our officers will respond to incidents where police are requested. And so we will certainly investigate cases that are brought to our attention. Okay?
And then what kind of party was this? And do we know if the 5-year-old was maybe a resident at that home the party was at, which is why he was out so late?
Based on the information we received, the 5-year-old was at the gas station with his family member and not at that particular location where the party was taking place.
How many of the victims were related?
At this time, that's undetermined if any of the victims were related.
Chief, is it safe to say the 5-year-old was struck by errant gunfire and was not actually being targeted by the individual?
But the 5-year-old was in the area when the gunfire erupted and was struck.
So he was actually a gunfire, but not being targeted himself or his parents.
Right. And so, as I stated, the 5-year-old was in the area. We do not have any information that the 5-year-old was being targeted.
Go ahead. You spoke to the parents that were at this event. Were there parents at the Shell gas station when the shooting occurred?
Based on the information we received, we don't know if any parents were actually present at the gas station when the shooting occurred.
How many officers were on the scene? And I know there's been an officer shortage lately, so with this kind of being kind of a big crime scene with 9 people involved, do y'all have enough officers to cover as well as cover the rest of Columbus while that's happening as well?
Well, let me be clear on our staffing. We have officers. Our city is a safe city, and we will always steadily work to recruit more officers. But the strategy that we use, we have at that particular time over 30 officers on the streets at that time, and that's not even including the supervisors.
Chief, how many people do you believe were actually targeted, and how many were bystanders? And how many people were being targeted by the shooters?
As I stated, this case is still under investigation, so a lot of that information will have to be forthcoming as we are able to proceed with the investigation.
I have a question. Is there any new updates in the other crime scenes that occurred in Urbana Vista Road and Lincoln Road all Friday, other than the mass shooting that occurred? I know there was 2 homicides and there was a deputy-involved shooting that didn't involve your agency. But is there any updates on the other 2 homicides?
But that was a murder that took place on Shaw Street, and an arrest has been made in that case. Okay. We have time for one more question.
About how,
You do not. Go ahead.
about how far was the home where the party occurred from the gas station?
That information is not known at this time. Is not even known if it was at a particular residence. Based on the information we received, it may have been at a warehouse location, not at a residence. All right. Thank you. Mayor, will come forward.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, just a quick comment on behalf of the city. Last night's events, as identified by the chief, are, I think, particularly horrific and particularly troubling. And it's because of the number of and the ages of the individuals involved. this epidemic that's sweeping our nation of this lack of maturity or mental acuity to be able to make the decision on some of these young people's parts. I just get tired of seeing folks when they have a disagreement or an argument, or maybe even a fist fight, they think they have to reach for a gun and go to deadly force. That's just got to stop. We have to find a way as a community to reclaim our young people. Our prayers are with all of these young people that are injured, and certainly all their families, because even though we were so fortunate and so grateful to God that we didn't have anybody lose their life, it changed a lot of lives that night, of those kids and of the people who are charged with taking care of them. So we're going to continue to put resources, we have to continue to put resources into programs and organizations that provide opportunities for these young people in our community to have more positive outlets for their energy. And we also have to continue to put resources and emphasis on our police department, who did an incredible job, as well as the Sheriff's Department and even CFEMS, because them being so close to where this occurred doubtless helped save some of these young people. But we have to continue to support and put resources to law enforcement as well, because the young people that refuse to take advantage of the organizations and the programs that are out there to improve themselves, give themselves an opportunity at a really good life, and they want to stay on the street and committing the crimes, then it becomes public safety's responsibility to catch them, lock them up for as long as we can. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Chief Blank.
Any further questions?
Do you know what specific weapons were used, and is there any updates on the victims as well?
Well, again, the case is still being investigated regarding the weapons that were used, but we do have information that 4 of the victims have been discharged from the medical facility, and so, which is always great to hear. And so we are appreciative for that information. But as I stated previously, we will work and utilize all of our resources as we work to bring this case to a successful result. I'm appreciative for the men and women of our department, as well as our public safety team that includes our fire department, for going to that scene to be able to help out as well, our medical team at the hospitals as well. And certainly, we will not rest until we're able to make progress in bringing this case to a resolve where an arrest is made. What I do want to say to our parents, let's make sure that we know where our children are. Let's make sure we know what our children have in their possession. And what I want to say to everyone, let's make sure we get involved and work towards helping to communicate how to peaceably resolve differences of opinion, how to peaceably resolve conflict without resulting to gunfire. As we're able to do that, we'll be able to see these shooting incidents decrease. There's a better way to resolve a difference than resulting to gunfire. Thank you.